Health shredders of the world, welcome to Friday. Welcome to episode 99, baby. We're going to end this week off right. We got a Q&A today, a big Q&A for all y'all out there. I hope you're all having a good morning. How's everybody's week going? You having a good week? I truly care if you're having a good week or not. So go ahead and throw a flex emoji in the comments as you guys jump on here. We get the live audience going. Ask any questions you guys got today. If you have any questions whatsoever, I am here to help you today. This is where I try to troubleshoot all the students out there, Shred Nation. So this is Q&A number 17 today, and we are going to be going over 4 questions. The show is here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we take the weekends off here at the school, just like when you were back at school, you get the weekends off. It's our favorite day of the week, Friday. Do you guys have any plans for Halloween? Do you? I'm excited. Today, I'm going to go to the movie theater, and I'm going to go see the best Halloween film of all time in theaters. Halloween, the original, John Carpenter's Halloween. They're doing it in theaters right now. And, being we're in COVID times, I would like to have movie theaters around in the future. So I'd like to give them a little bit of money so they can stay open. But, Halloween, my favorite movie of all time. I can't wait to go watch that. And then I'll watch the second one at home. So we already got some flex emojis in the comments. We're already rolling. Comment what your favorite scary movie is in the comments right now. That's for you, Instagram. That's for you, YouTube. That's for you, Facebook. Let me know. We got Michael is on. So what's your favorite scary movie? Or do you not watch scary movies? Or do you not? Scary movies are awesome. So, okay, let's go ahead and begin here today. So we got 4 questions. We're going to rip through these guys. A lot of them, these questions, they end up pertaining to the episodes that we do every week. Usually how I get these questions is going to be when I put out my feelers on the on my stories, do social media platforms and whatnot. Sometimes I actually use questions that I've gotten from the students at the School of Shred during the week, and just to try and help educate and spread the love and to share with you just some answers to common questions and things that you might have a question to, you haven't really formulated it yet. So let's get into this today. This is all about knowledge today. So number 1, we're going to pull this up on the screen. Someone asked me, in your experience, what is the best brand of step tracker? What is the best brand of step tracker? So we kind of talked about this yesterday, actually. Yesterday was episode 98. You can refer back to that episode. We talked about the best fitness tool. And I was talking about step trackers was one of the tools I was talking about. The best brand, honestly, is you just got to figure this out. I think they're all good now. I think there's a lot of, there is a lot of good brands out there. And what I mean by you got to figure this out is you got to find what's going to work best for you, what you like the best. There's Fitbit is really good. What I liked about having a Fitbit was the soft wake up that you can do with the alarm, but that's something different than a step tracker. But it has a step tracker in it. Most of these platforms now, they have apps and they do numerous things to track your fitness. You also have Apple Watch. That's all the rage. People love that, obviously, because there's a lot more tools that you can get out of that other than just the step tracking. Polar makes great heart rate monitors. Those were the heart rate monitors I got back when I was in high school. We had a grant and we had heart rate monitors with the big old fat chest straps that we put on. I remember, and they've come a long way as well. And then one thing that I'm interested in is the Oura Ring. That's a ring that you put on and it can sense your heart rate, step track, all that kind of stuff. I believe it does step tracking. And the cool thing is you can see your sleep cycles and you can actually execute what's called heart rate variability training, which is, your heart rate every morning when you get up, your resting heart rate. If you wake up and it's above a certain number, if it's high, that could mean that your nervous system is fighting extra hard and it's stressed. So you might want to do something simpler that day. I know sometimes we do got to go a little less intensive exercise. It's hard to do though. Exercise is awesome. It's great. Hard exercise is the best. But anyway, so those are great. You got Fitbit, you got Apple Watch, you got Polar. And then what I have a Suunto, which maybe a lot of people haven't heard of. A great company. I love them. I love the watch that I got. I got a watch that, number one, it holds a strong charge for several weeks because I was already apprehensive to spend good money on something I got to charge all the time, just because like there's that caveman survivalist in me that thinks like, what if the world goes to hell in a handbasket and I got to rely on this watch. If you look around, it kind of is, but we're not going to talk about that today. But anyway, Suunto is really good. And then the one that I got, it has a step tracker, so it's got the regular watch that I'm wearing right now, but it also comes with a heart rate strap, which I like. I am not, I don't really believe these watches that just try to take your pulse and everything from your wrist. I don't think that's accurate. I tested a wrist monitor. I'm not going to say the name of it. I tested a wrist monitor next to one that had a heart rate monitor involved with the watch, and there was a 20 beats per minute difference between the two. So if I'm trying to track my heart rate for exercise, it's mandatory right now with the technology that we have. I have to have something with a chest strap on, and that's why I have what I have. And it holds a strong charge, and I also get the steps, which when I'm not tracking my exercise, I just when I go for my walks, this tracks my steps as well. And then, I have students at the school that they didn't want to buy anything and they're just using their phone. There's a lot of apps on your phone. I mean, check that out. A lot of you might not realize that there's actually like Apple Health, I think, is one of the step trackers. So if there's any that I'm missing of anybody that's watching, go ahead and let me know. Go ahead and comment. What are you guys digging on as far as step trackers? But they're all tools, and just look into them and figure out which one you want. That's the main thing, is what has the features that you like, what looks the best, what has the best functionality, because ultimately this is one of the coolest tools that you can get, I think, for fitness, and this is what makes me thankful for technology. So all right, and then we have an answer here. Okay, Friday the 13th. Michael, what Friday the 13th is your favorite, man? Is it the first ones with Mrs. Voorhees, or like when we get into Jason? Those are so good. I'm going to be watching those this weekend. I'm going to do some TV time this weekend. All right, we're going to go to question 2. Seems like there's like a lag on this or something like that, because when you comment, it's always quite a bit later. So I'm going to roll on, and then we'll get back to talking about scary movies here. Scary movies are awesome. So, all right, question 2 that I'm pulling up here. When is the best time to have kombucha tea? Okay, so we've talked about kombucha. I am a fan if your gut can handle it. If you don't have any intestinal permeability or any type of issues that might make you sensitive to this type of probiotic strain, a lactobacillus probiotic strain, these can be really good. So I've made this stuff before. I love it. However, there is one thing that you might want to consider, and that's that tea has caffeine in it. So the best time to have kombucha would be, outside of 6 hours before bed. So do not have it within 6 hours of bedtime. Okay. So if you go to bed at midnight, no kombucha after 6 p.m. But any time up until then is a great time to have it. In the morning, in the afternoon, any time between there. So pretty straightforward stuff. The thing is, you don't want to have caffeine too close to bed, because what does caffeine do? It secretes, or it creates cortisol. It creates a cortisol response in the body. It stimulates the nervous system. That's what wakes you up. And there's always gonna be a little caffeine left over. Now, you could try and get decaffeinated tea if you're going to make it on your own, or do decaf kombucha. I don't recommend that, because they have to soak the leaves in chemical solvents a lot of the time. So you're adding chemicals in, and I am a big chemical guy. I am a big natural food guy. And wanting to know what's in the food, what's in the drink, what's in all of that stuff, not just from a calorie perspective. The calorie perspective is really important from a 30,000 foot view, but as you start to get deeper and deeper into nutrition, calories matter, but ingredients matter as well. It's not one or the other. They all matter a tremendous amount. So, and with that said, quality meaning is something soaked in chemical solvents. I'm not really for it. So anyway, I don't recommend decaf. So just have kombucha during the day, during lunchtime, and then you should be good to go on that one. Good question. Yeah. Okay. There we go, Michael. Yeah. You like watching all of the Friday the 13th in order? Yeah, that's killer. I do too. I do too. I like all of them. I'm trying to get through Nightmare on Elm Street too. Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite. So if you're listening to this, what is your favorite scary movie? Think to yourself. Maybe I named it. Maybe it's Halloween. All right. So number 3, if I'm pinched for time, is it better to lift or do cardio for weight loss? All right. Good. Thank you for quantifying your goal into weight loss, because again, I'll start asking who's the person, what's the goal, what do they have available. But if you're pinched, I like that. If you're pinched for time, it's better to lift or do cardio. Okay, well, if the goal is weight loss, I would say lift. Challenge the muscles. Challenging your muscles is going to give you a bit of an afterburn, but really what it's doing is it's stimulating tissue, and it's more like an investment long term, whereas cardio is like a short term, and it's needed. Cardio we could just call, it could be low level activity, it could be high intensity interval training, whatever. But lifting, if you're cramped for time, you can really make good use of say 15 minutes if you lift. Now, lifting, I would say, would fall into the realm of just resistance exercise. For somebody like me, I can do burpees without injury. So I'll use burpees as an example. If I'm cramped for time, I might try and do 150 burpees in 15 minutes, where I do 10 burpees every minute. All right. That's very rigorous, quick exercise, but something like that, or a push-up challenge where every minute on the minute for 15 minutes, I'm doing 20 push-ups, something like that, where it's a metabolic type blast. Now, if you're in a different spot and you're trying to, you're lifting, you could still make great use of supersets and whatnot in 15, 30 minutes. It does, your workouts don't have to be that long. The more that I've done this, the actual less that I work out. I try to send a really stressful, intense signal when I do my resistance training most of the time, depending on where I'm at in my recovery. And then I back out of that. So, and clients are the same thing. Like I try to be very, very efficient with my clientele. So there's kind of two parts there. There's my personal program, and then what I have to do specifically with each client that I have. And some of my clients, we don't even really explore really intense exercise just because of where they're at with injuries and limitations and considerations and such. So if you're pinched for time, I would say lift, or whatever is quickest. But like lifting, if you had to, drive to the gym and do that whole thing, I'd say just do something at home, do a push-up challenge, do 20 push-ups every minute on the minute, or 30 squats every minute on the minute, or alter them. You do 30 squats for the first minute, the second minute you do push-ups, the third minute maybe you do burpees, and you give yourself the rest for, you do your 20 reps of say push-ups. That takes you 20 seconds, and you take 40 seconds rest, and then you alter it that way. That can be very, very efficient. It's kind of like Tabatas, if you ever heard of those. You can get a lot done in a very short amount of time with resistance training. You can do the same thing with cardio as well, but I'm just saying for weight loss, stimulating that muscle tissue, breaking down the fibers, that is good for your long-term metabolic health, your bone health, and all of that. So that's good stuff. But cardio is also awesome, but just get those steps up. All right, last one we got here today. Is dairy good for you? That's a great question. Well, that depends. So some things to look for dairy being good for you or not good for you would be skin rashes, if you have acne, if you have any type of bloating. So if you've ever done this, or maybe try this, maybe try getting off all dairy for a week and then putting it back in, and notice if there's any difference. Is your face puffy? Are your fingers feel stiff? Do your joints feel stiff? Are you excessively sore? Are you excessively tired? Do you feel tired after you have dairy? Do you feel gassy or bloated after you have dairy? How like bowel movement wise, what's going on there? Are you being affected by it? Start to just look at this list of stuff of symptoms and effects that could be happening, or what the rest of the world like to call side effects. But I had a mentor that was like, well, they're just effects. They're just effects you don't want, so you call them side effects, but there's no real side effect. It's just an effect of the deal. But anyway, if you look at all of those, bloating, stiff fingers, rashes, skin irritations, things like that, then you might have some type of an issue. And it's good to test by pulling things out, eliminating them, and then putting them back in, and then testing. One thing that I've done with my clients before is pull something out, stay really strict with it, and then have them put that back in on an empty stomach in a small amount to see what the reaction is. And if they're good, they feel fine with it, then they pass go. If there's some type of a reaction, then it's a no-go. So that's how you just have to test. So it's a case-by-case basis, like most things in nutrition. It's a case-by-case basis. There's not one golden rule. Me personally, I'm a big believer in natural food, whole food, a big believer in raw milk cheese. Do your own research on that further, but a lot of people think that's extremely controversial. I've had people get upset with me because I talk about this. But the thing is that if you look back at the lineage of it, it was only until factory farming that we really needed to start doing this whole pasteurization thing, which basically heats up the milk, kills all the nutrition. Then they have to fortify it, which is another word meaning unnaturally supplement it. So it gets all of its vitamins back. And then for some reason, we don't understand why we're having all these negative reactions to dairy. Whereas, a regular dairy would be fermented. It has the microbes in it that you would need to break it down. So that's my stance on it. It seems like that's a great option. But, you're also listening to somebody who's a more of a naturalist type guy. So that's just, that's where I land on a lot of this stuff, is I think the, over processing of foods and things like that are a big reason why we have issues with things now, because it's only been in the last 120 years now. But as the early 1900s is when things have started to change pretty drastically, and humans been around a lot longer than that, digesting certain types of foods, and we wonder why we have so much cancer and metabolic syndrome and all this stuff now. So it's a compounding effect of a lot of little things. So dairy, you just got to test it out. It could be good for you. It could be a little bit problematic. It could be a little problematic right now. Maybe you have some intestinal permeability, but as you get a more resilient system and you fix your system by pulling things out, you might be able to handle that stuff later. So it's never, none of this stuff is ever a death sentence. If it's like, oh, I can't have this right now. I've had some amazing things happen with clients of mine. I've had some amazing things happen where they start off, we have to be pretty restricted because of their considerations and the things that, their individual variances they have. And then over time, we're able to add things back in. And then they get to this state where they're extremely free with their nutrition again. They don't feel tied down. They don't feel restricted, but sometimes we need to be restricted to fix things. So then we can, be unrestricted later and enjoy certain food groups and such. So that is a very great, topic, is this whole idea of case-by-case basis with nutrition. Obviously there's general rules, but I'm reading a book right now that's a metabolic book, and it's talking about, good fats and bad fats. And it's even the person that's promoting eating high fat in this book is talking about, well, how's your body burning fat? Like, is your body actually able to burn fat? Is your brain actually able to get ketones when it needs them, or is it only getting glucose? And if that's the case, then fat might not be good for you. You have to challenge your body and do certain things, but very interesting stuff, because it's always a case by case basis. If there's one thing that I've learned from all of the personal training stuff that I've done, the courses, the curriculums, the hours and hours with clients in person troubleshooting, it's that it's all a gradient, it's a continuum, and you have to always be adjusting, and what's working for you right now might not work for you in 5 years. And this people have a hard time with, specifically when it comes to exercise. So now we're getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think this is important to get into. Was when I have clients that they'll be upset because maybe their body starts breaking down at, as they get a little bit older. And they're like, well, I used to be able to do all this stuff. And it's like they're holding themselves to a standard of a decade ago when they were younger, right? Now, a lot of us accept the fact that we might not be as good at something as we were in high school, right? Which might be quite a while ago for you. But for some reason, we don't take that. Say, if it was 20 years ago, you go, oh, well, yeah, obviously my body's different. But if it was 2 years ago, people for some reason don't accept the fact that maybe their body's completely different and it needs something totally different right now. And when I specialize in exercise, sometimes I have people doing stuff that is, most of the time, I'm having people do stuff that is in extremely stable situations. I'm not just allowing them to do, these high metabolic dynamic jumping around and all that stuff. And they're like, well, I used to be able to do that and I can't do it now without pain. And it's like, well, there's contact surfaces that could be worn down along the joint. There's all sorts of different reasons. You turn over a bone every 7 years, like you're a different person. So that's something that's important because that happens in nutrition and it also happens in exercise. So what's working today is not guaranteed to work tomorrow. So when you focus on today and getting through today with your nutrition and making sure you have, the best absorption possible with your nutrition, and you're not getting leaky gut syndrome and you're fixing all this stuff, you're getting enough sleep, you're making sure your body's taken care of. If you add up enough of those good days, then it starts to open you up to more opportunities later on to maybe have and indulge in the foods that you want. This is the thing of, if you take care of your system all the time and you go out and you have a big cheat, you go out to a restaurant, you go out with family and you eat a bunch of processed, refined food, that one meal is going to be fine. You might feel like crap on it. You might be like, wow, I actually feel like a dip of energy the next day. But however, it's you're going to be able to handle it and you'll recover better because you have a resilient system. You have a resilient system because you've taken care of yourself day by day. So these inches add up and they are repaid to you in good health. So that is it for today. That is episode 99. We are back next week with episode 100. I'm not even sure what we should do. Maybe I should dance for you or I'll sing for you or something. So anyway, thanks for hanging out these first 99 episodes. I appreciate you listening. If you're just tuning in for the first time, there's a lot of content you could go back in time and check out. It's just one guy sitting here talking to himself on camera and on microphone. So I'll see everybody on Monday for episode 100. Have a great weekend. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body, stay relentless and energized in spirit, and stay determined in your pursuits this weekend, school. You know what that spells, right? That spells shred. Now go shred the day and get better in every way. Until next time, class is dismissed. Thanks for all your questions today, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.